Alrighty, here we go. Okay, let's see here. Well, where is that box? Okay. Okay, there's that, there's that. Okay, there we go. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. I was just, one of these days I'll get this thing in order to the point I like it. I keep trying to turn the text white on the, or black on this background and white on the black background so that we can see it on the screen a little better when we're doing that. Okay, it's no okay. Now let's get this thing started while I got you all here. Now, of course, this is Dr. Freedom, and I have a billion articles backed up, as you can see at the top of the screen there. And it's just I've been busy with other things. Now, okay, now none of you have heard this, but now that this part is over, I can let something. I'm going to drop a bomb on you. Now, about just over a month or so ago, I was called in because, being the big 5-0 now, I got to, have regular lung scans or whatever, at least once a year or whatever, just to make sure, they're basically to make sure you don't develop lung cancer. And sure enough, I get a call back on Sunday, which the first thing that happens is my brain goes into red alert. And, the doc calls up and he goes, well, they found something. I'm like, oh, crap. I'm not kidding. I was literally about to go drop 4 or 5 bricks, into my pants. And, well, it's 1.7 centimeters. Yeah. Okay. What is it? We don't know. But I'm like, well, how do we find out what it is? Because I was worried. It's like your lungs are riddled with cancer. Because that's something nobody should have to live with. It's, you think in the 21st century, we would have, cured that thing yet. And, and sure enough, I go in to get a more detailed, scan. Because that means they're going to run radioactive dye through me. My whiz is going to be glowing in the dark. That kind of thing. And so they get me in there. And sure enough, the lady goes, when did you last take your diabetes medication? I go, this morning, like normal, but I fasted. Well, we can't run it because the diabetes medication, because it's a glucose-based, thing that they've attached, the radioactive material comes in. And, well, we can't do the test because, your medication will, disable the stuff. And I'm like, well, that would have been great if you put that on the sheet that you handed me, Well, okay, so the following day, I scheduled an appointment because they had an opening at 7 the next morning. I go in. They're like, well, now your sugar level's a bit too high. I'm like, so sure enough, I had another day that was scheduled off for something else, and we were able to land an appointment. Go in there, and also, no, now they're calling it, get ready for this name, the nodule. And it's like, so it's been about a month at this time, a little over a month. They said, look, there's no growth. From the detailed scan, we can pretty much tell there's no organic or metabolic process going on in there. And I kept telling them, guys, I had pneumonia in that lung. It's probably scar tissue. And so, good news is, there's no sign of cancer. I've had no sign of it in my blood work or anything like that. So, otherwise, but it weighs on your mind. You keep thinking, what if? And yeah, go watch What If. Great series, by the way. This week they had Chadwick Boseman in his last performance as Black Panther. And if you're not watching the What If series, like I said, it's really, really weird. You got to get into it. All right, now that I got you all here, got a few of you here, let's get into what we have on the news, okay? Now, the big thing is this week that came out was, as you all know, John Michael Straczynski, the guy who did Babylon 5. And a lot of people don't realize this guy has written a ton of other stuff besides Babylon 5. So, Oh, thank you, one blind chick. Thank you for that. Like I said, I was really worried. I'm not kidding. I was trying to keep it contained, because I didn't want to say anything till we had something definite. But yeah, the detailed PET scan came back, and yeah, there's no growth, there's no metabolic process. But they're gonna, so in 3 months I'm gonna go back. They're gonna check it again just to be sure, and make sure nothing's going on in there. Okay, so as y'all know, let's get back to the story. JMS, he's written lots and lots of great science fiction. Here's a guy who ran Babylon 5 literally on a shoestring budget, got 5 years out of it, and he made it deliberately a 5-year story. Well, and it turns out, this guy has the experience. Something like Doctor Who, he can do it, Matter of fact, contrary to popular belief, a lot of people were saying he ripped off DS9 when it turns out it wasn't until like 20 years later that Pat Tallman came out and admitted that Paramount had the Bible outline for Babylon 5 for over a year, and then when they found out that Straczynski was doing his own show, suddenly DS9 went into development. And I'm not kidding. Sit down and just line up all the parallels. Yeah, he would be. I agree with you, Al-Hakim. Yeah, he would be a fantastic showrunner. But I hate to tell you this, but he has about his chances. I got a better chance of being the first astronaut to land on the moon for the Chinese space program than, John Michael Straczynski, has it being showrunner for Doctor Who. And it just amazes me because he's American. And people throw fits about this kind of thing. I'm like, but he's the guy, he volunteered. He wants to do the job. And we know he can do it. We know this guy can write. We know this guy can run a show. Well, I don't think we should because he's an American. And, why am I doing a Southern accent for a British citizen? I have no idea. But, I'm sorry. It's mainly because my Cockney really stinks. It's like, but. I don't, as he said here, contact has been made with the BBC over the showrunner job. And I love the fact that he threw in an Invisible Enemy reference in a way there. Anybody remember the Invisible Enemy, with, Tom Baker and Leela, and Louise Jameson as Leela? Contact has been made and all that stuff. Joe Michael Straczynski, thank you very much. All right, I'm running off the deep end there. Very sorry. So Joseph Michael Straczynski, thank you. Like I said, I've had a weird couple of weeks, but thank you for the assist there. So Joe wants to do the job. He wants it. He wants to do it. But like I said, I don't think they're going to give it to him. All right, now, I had a friend of mine who sent me this, and this is from Clandestine Top Secret Informants. He had a friend of his that attempted, to contact the BBC through his agent because he, too, has had experience. And like I said, I don't want to go into too much detail because they want to remain anonymous. This is what they were sent from the BBC, and I'll read it to you because it's probably in tiny print on your screen. All right. I'm going to skip past the I was forwarded this part, and we'll go right to the nitty-gritty. I am the commissioning editor on Doctor Who. Chris Chibnall is in post as executive producer showrunner of Doctor Who for a while yet, and we are not currently accepting incoming proposals for future positions on the show. All the best, Ben, and that's Ben Irving. Now, these folks I've gone through before. I like I said, they've never steered me wrong. So I'm assuming this is a legit, and also it looks legit. It sounds legit. So basically, what they've told JMS in a polite way is, don't call us, we'll call you. And in this guy, they said, well, don't call us at all. So it's like, we have to wonder what he actually got in his inbox versus what this guy got. All right, we got a lot to do, so let's go. All right, new Doctor Who cast photo hides a sneaky secret message. And it turns out if you go down here, it's all the way down here in the teeny tiny corner. The number 5 is highlighted. What does this mean? And people are going on. I'm not kidding. They blew up the picture. I'm like, guys, it's like sometimes, as Freud used to say, a cigar is just a cigar. So let it go. I'd say let it go. But at the same time, we've got the, hashtag find the doctor going on thing. Maybe it has something to do with that. And it started with a hidden word in the Doctor Who trailer last month, #mystery. Now, Eagle Eyes fans obviously could not let that go, and now weeks later they're still trying to #find the Doctor as part of a mysterious game that will eventually presumably lead to the password for a locked Doctor Who website. Now, the mystery clue led fans to a website. There's a link to it here with cryptic text and a place to enter a passcode, and here you go, bam, bam, bam. So if you want to get into this thing, maybe have yourself a little bit of fun, here you go. All right, bam, bam, now, all right. Now, of course, we got Chibnall hints filming on remaining special will wrap this year. Because he's already said on this Twitter thing that he'll be pretty much free and clear by 2022, because he says, it's the year my two sons take their GCSEs and A-levels, and I promised them and my wife I'd be clear of the show by then. So, Chibnall, yeah, like I've been telling y'all for months, he wants out. And I don't blame him for wanting out. This guy came in, he tried to do something absolutely different, and of course he was crapped on by it by a certain section of the fandom. Now, and it's like, when someone says, okay, I don't like the writing, I can understand that, and then you give me a constructive example, okay. But when you put up the things like, the whole thing sucks, Jodie Whittaker is a crappy actress, but of course now the story is shifted to, it's not Whittaker's fault, it's all being put on Chibnall. And I feel sorry for anybody who runs this show from this point forward. Because when you look at a picture of Chibnall now versus like 5 years ago, he's starting to look absolutely gaunt. It's like, my goodness, it's like, I feel sorry for the guy, I really do. All right, Doctor Who Series 13, it's been hinted at. All right, now here's the synopsis that BBC America put out. And it says, apparently the Doctor searches for answers in her past. Quote, here we go. She's back. The 13th Doctor is returning for the 13th series in what is said to be a 6-part event serial. Since their last epic battle in Revolution of the Daleks, the Doctor and Yaz have been exploring the universe together, but with the Doctor now questioning everything about her past, she will undoubtedly be searching for answers. All right. Oh, sorry, I got a cursor in the way there. And then it goes into the usual spiel. So a lot of people were hoping they just drop the Timeless Children and run off. Because, of course, the Timeless Children's the reason why, they didn't do this last week. The Timeless Children killed their lawn, ate their puppies, and, kicked, I don't know, ripped the wheel off a school bus. I don't know. It just, ugh. All right, Tom Baker, I got Doctor Who right out of the blue, and I didn't know what to do with it. And he reveals why he never felt anxious about returning to the crackpot world of Doctor Who. And as we all know, he's come back in the Big Finish audio now and all that. And he's had a lot of great stories with them. So if you want to go check this out, here you go. And it'll give you a little more info, because we got a ton of Big Finish info coming up here. Okay, here's a lovely interview with Russell T Davies. And he's done 1,000,000,005 things since Doctor Who and all that. Plus, before Doctor Who, he was doing things. And that's why I die laughing when people are like, we need a genuine sci-fi writer to take over Doctor Who. And I'm like, the only thing I can find sci-fi wise that RTD wrote before Doctor Who was Damaged Goods, which was a Doctor Who novel for Virgin Novels. Other than that, he pretty much wrote sitcoms and various other things. So, and then of course Moffat, go look at how many things Moffat wrote that was sci-fi related before he stepped into Doctor Who. Before he even wrote for the show, period. See what I mean? That's why I die laughing. You must be a qualified sci-fi writer. All right, Philip Hinchcliffe, I was pushing the envelope on Doctor Who, but not irresponsibly. Hinchcliffe, who's produced some of the BBC's best sci-fi. I need a drinky. Some of the BBC Sci-Fi's best loved stories is back with a new set of adventures for Big Finish. And I love the Philip Hinchcliffe presents stuff, because that was a time when Doctor Who got really dark for a bit. Kind of went down a little bit of shadowy trail there. And it was more like a Hammer horror film at that point, than it was the regular Doctor Who we had seen before, and since. It really is. And boom, here you go. Nice little interview with Philip Hinchcliffe. Don't worry, we're almost to the end. Empire of the Wolf. Covers and details have been revealed, and this saga in Doctor Who Comics will start this November. Here's the synopses and all if you want to read it. And, of course, it's the Bad Wolf / they kind of gave it up, because when you look at the cover, it's her sitting there on a throne. So they kind of there's a major spoiler right off the bat. And, of course, it's the 8th and the 11th Doctor are kind of stuck in this thing. So, yeah, if you're into the comics, there you go. Okay, coming up in Big Finish, available September this year. So you ain't got to wait too long. Doctor Who, 10th Doctor, Classic Companions. Well, sorry, next year. Ha! I fooled you, didn't I? Oh, okay. So, okay. All right, so this one here, the first one, Splinters. Looks like we got K9 and Leela. The Doctor and K9 enter a virtual world to help Nyssa escape Time War's criminal scheme. A Time War criminal scheme. Okay, all right. Ace investigates a new tech company that will seem too good to be true and meets the Doctor and K9 as Axos escapes its trap. Now, they've had this thing called the Feast of Axos where they tried to get out before, when that was a Colin Baker adventure for Big Finish. All right, teammates for the third Doctor, of course, this is with Tim Treloar, and like I said, every time he does this, he gets a little bit better at it. He's really, really good. Plus, you got John Coleshaw in there as the Brigadier. It's amazing stuff. And of course, Sadie Miller is going to be stepping in for the role of Sarah Jane Smith, to replace, well, no one's ever going to replace her mother, Liz Sladen, but, in honor of her mother, I like to think of it as. And of course, John, there's John Coleshaw's name. And Katie Manning will be in, of course, as Joe Grant. And of course, looks like we got a Draconian going on here. And it's kind of sad, too, because I want to see the Draconians back on the main show. They had such an interesting culture, interesting society, and all that. We never saw them again after Frontier in Space. At least not that I can remember, really. All right, Counselor Troi meets Martha Jones. Don't get your hopes up, because the copyright paperwork on that would be enough. What they're referring to is Marina Sirtis will be appearing in the new series that's coming up, The Year of Martha Jones, which is going to take place during the year she walked the earth, with the Toclafane and the Master going crazy. So that's what's going on with that. And lastly for today, Michelle Gomez is going to be, we already knew this pretty much, she's going to be doing another series of Missy for the Doctor Who audio spinoff series. And apparently she's going to team up with the meddling monk Rufus Hound and some other shenanigans that Missy's up to. All right, so let's get back to the beginning. We'll leave right here. Now I can get caught up on the chat box. Okay. Now, I'm not saying everybody did Blind Chick, hated the Timeless Children. It's just you had a bunch of guys out there saying basically the Timeless Children. The Timeless Children blew up my cat. It was literally gotten crazy. I was almost halfway tempted to do a video of the Timeless Children taking on Tokyo, and then Godzilla shows up. But then I really didn't want to dive into the copyright nonsense on that. All right, I'm trying to get caught up on the chat box here. Sorry about never really cared for Gallifrey before. It has just caused the Doctor more grief each time. And there's nothing good about that planet. I don't care that it was destroyed. Very, very nice, Terrence. I thought it was a bad move by Moffat to do that flip reverse that he did for Day of the... I call it... A friend of mine, Vil, gave me the name. We call it Error of the Zygons, a.k.a. Dump of the Doctor. Because I thought it was really, really dumb to bring Gallifrey back. Plus, now you got Zygons can shapeshift in anything from a small rabbit up to a freaking horse. And the reason why they limited the Zygon shapeshifting ability, it's like, well, where are they getting all this mass from, and where are they getting rid of it to impersonate small animals? You see, when they did humanoids and all that, they made perfect sense, because they didn't kill their prisoners because they put them in the body print machine so they could, scan their molecular structure second by second to keep a real-time, image or whatever that the Zygons used to impersonate them. Plus, they could access their memories and things like that. Well, I don't think we actually saw them access memories, to be honest. But, Okay, but JMS, like I said, I would love to see someone like John Michael Straczynski step in and, Joe Michael. I did it again. Joe Michael Straczynski. I always get his name mixed up. So I want to thank you guys for putting me back on the straight and narrow with that one, because I don't know, I have a bad habit. Every time I see the J, I think John, and I know it's not John, it's Joe. But, he volunteered to do it, which means I'd assume he's willing to take a pay cut to do it. Yeah, his price is too high. I don't know. Joe's a great writer. I think he'd cut him a break if they gave him a shot at it, to be honest. This guy is written like, oh gosh, I'm not kidding. Go look up his name. You're not going to believe the resume this guy has, after Babylon 5 and before even. But of course, what the jokes in the fandom will be. Oh, it's the guy who wrote Jason, the Wheeled Warriors. Because nobody is ever going to be good enough to fill the showrunner role. It's that simple. You're always going to have a faction out there who complains. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was talking about audios there. Yeah, they're coming out. There have been the one set of comics, the Bad Wolf Empire, which I don't know why. Yeah, thank you, one blind chick. Thank you. I almost say one-eyed blind because I think of the band Third Eye Blind. Yeah, we should be thankful that somebody, with a very impressive resume has, decided to put themselves on the firing line. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Grant, for mentioning that one. Oh, heck, it's the one where they're in that thing that's outside of time and space. Yeah, the 10th Doctor, David Tennant meets Tom Baker. And I just listened to that one about a couple months ago. It was a pretty interesting story. Now I can't remember. Like I said, I know what the name is. I'd have to go look it up. It's on the tip of my brain. I think he wants to do it for the challenge, says Saeed. Yeah, also the fact he's a fan. I think he's genuinely, someone who genuinely cares about this show. And that's why I think he should get a shot. But I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to get blown off because he's an American. Which I always found funny, that you've got all these diehards saying, the new Doctor must be a British citizen, or at least natural-born British. I'm like, wow, that sounds like our qualifications for president over here. It's like, learn to read, old man, an exaggerated Southern accent. I love that. Because I tend to do that, because you see, both my mom and dad were from Mississippi. And so it's like, I've been around countless Southern accents, because every year, from the time I was old enough to, remember, up till about the time I was getting towards my late teens, my dad would take a shutdown and we'd go down to Mississippi. And we'd visit, the relatives who hadn't come up. His mom lived down there for the longest time. And I'll never forget, because my dad was the only guy who got a newspaper delivered to him from, get ready for this, Boonville, Mississippi. We used to get the Boonville Banner every week. And I'm like, Dad, why are we reading about news in Mississippi? It's like, It's like, what's going to happen if I say, well, I want a copy of Pravda sent to the house? Oh, wait, they'll ladle me. Or go, he's a commie. Oh. Yeah, you're right. They blew, yeah, it's Kevin. Yeah, they blew off Joe Hill. And here's a guy who can write. I've read some of his stuff, Joe Hill. It's not just the fact that Stephen King is his daddy. This guy's talented. And they blew him off, too. Yeah. Like I said, it's like, it just amazes me that they're so diehard about this that, oh yeah, I do that where the fat man got my name wrong, mommy. Oh. The fat man's up there doing weird things again. We better get the police. So I've been exposed to, I don't know how many Southern accents, but it's amazing to me they want a British show and a British actor. And all that. The show was founded by a Canadian. It was created by a Canadian, which, that's just slightly north of America, ain't it? I love also how we get the blame, for the 96 movie. And I'm like, it was a British director, British writer, and it's like it was a co-thing with the BBC. You can't blame us for the 96 movie and what went wrong. Okay, the whole thing was creatively under a British team. So don't, that's why, oh, goodness gracious. Just like people were still blaming David Tennant for the shortened season where he left. Like, no, Tennant didn't take on the Shakespeare role until RTD contacted him and said, we're going to be doing a reduced year. And he said, oh, great, because I've been wanting to go do this, Shakespeare thing. So, all right, the problem is some fans are moaning and that fans are, all right. Yeah, it's like, there's a reason why I keep telling them RTD and the Moffite are out of there. And it's called because they burned out. Plus, there were people really, really talking down RTD towards the end. And Moffat, like I said, he had to cut all his social media there for a while because he was literally getting death threats and threats of violence against his family. And for what? A TV show. It's like, folks, look, I love this show. I've been watching it since about 83. But if you think I'm going to, go out and threaten somebody because they did something on it that I didn't like, it's like that'd be like me, back in the 80s, calling up and going, now listen here, Mr. Nathan Turner. If you keep wearing them Hawaiian shirts, I was going to have to visit you with a crowbar. You see, it doesn't make any sense. Why come you got Tegan running around in high heels? You know that makes me happy in places I can't discuss. But that was another thing I couldn't figure out, why they put companions who've been with the Doctor on more than one adventure in high heels. It's like, they know better. It's like, they're not that dumb, okay? They know. Do wear flats and or sneakers or trainers. Do not wear high heels. It does not work. Especially the clack, clack, clack gives you away to most enemies. Yeah, I remember that. That was Army Ted, I want to say. Yeah, Next Gen fan or Gen Next fan. I believe it was going by the name Army Ted. Yeah, people were going after him for a while. Okay, Doctor Who and ITV's The Avengers were both created by the same person. Now, why not make a crossover with the Doctor meeting Steed and Peel? Oh, sadly, it's like, I'm sorry, guys, I'm one of them guys. The only person I can see as Steed is Patrick Macnee to this day. Of course, Peel being Diana Rigg. And it's like, they're both no longer with us, if I remember right. And it's like, like I said, I loved Patrick Macnee in like a lot of stuff. I loved him in Battlestar Galactica as Count Ebly. Oh, man. He was just that distinctive voice and the way he carried himself. I loved Patrick Macnee and just about anything he did. Same as like Roddy McDowall. Even the crappy movies he did. I love Roddy McDowall in. Like the other day, I found out it was between him and Daniel Davis for the role of Giles on The Nanny. Something I didn't know. I just stumbled onto it in a video, and I'm like, wait a minute. Wow. Yeah, it was they were interviewing Daniel Davis. And he goes, yeah, it was between me and Roddy McDowall. And he goes, I thought for sure, there's no way I'm getting this job. But they picked him. Pinhead meets the Doctor. But now you do realize they finally released Pinhead's actual name, and apparently it was Hell Priest. And now they're going to make Hell Priestess for the new movie series. Clive Barker, nah. Clive Barker, I don't see him writing Doctor Who. At least not the kind that, oh, goodness gracious. It would make Night Terrors look like a tiptoe through the tulips if Clive Barker wrote an episode of Doctor Who. Oh, goodness gracious. Because I loved Hellraiser, Hellraiser 2, Hellraiser 3, kind of boring. I did like Bloodline, where, they went back to the family chain, even though they rewrote a few things here and there. I thought it was an interesting way they told the story. I got a kick out of that, where they added a sci-fi element to Hellraiser. I think that was Bloodline, if I remember right. Yeah, like I said, all I know is that Sally Wainwright was the front runner right now. But like I said, that could be changed. Plus, why is it every time? Like now everybody's jumping up down saying Michael Sheen for 14. And I'm like, oh, so you want to go back to an old dude with a beard? Well, I don't think that's right. We haven't had a Doctor with a beard, have we? Colin Baker wanted to have one, and they said no. Sorry about that, folks. But here, let me get let's do this, shall we? Mommy, the fat man blew his nose. But look, I'm winging out the sanitizer here, Matter of fact, this is strawberry scented. Like my toilet paper. Okay, very nice quote there by Otaku. Thank you. Friendly Otaku. Yeah, there are people like, Michael Sheen for 14. It's like, no, I'd rather have Martin Sheen for 14. There you go. As long as it ain't Charlie Sheen, because then he'll go ape on set, and then God only knows what'll happen. Oh, yeah. It's kind of sad they weren't able to make that happen. The one good thing that would have come out of Day of the Doctor was, in a way, they were going to canonize the Cushing movies, and sadly, there was a rights issue. I've talked about it a billion times before how they were going to do that. They were going to have the movie posters in the Black Archive, and it was going to be like somebody had apparently leaked stories to the movie writers, and that's where they got the idea to do the movies. Okay. Oh yeah, that's been going on for a while. W123. Yeah, that, especially over there on the Charbroil guy's channel, who's going literally everything he's put out in like the last month has had the word leak in the title. I'm like, dude, technically that means you've taken more leaks in like 1 month than I do, than I do in a month, which is weird, considering I'm a middle-aged guy with blood, on water pills and things like that. Okay, you don't need a seance to get Peter back. Yeah, you need a seance. Okay. Very good one. Yeah, you need a seance to get Peter Cushing back. I don't think he wants to come back. I think he's having a good time wherever he is. That great journey, we don't know what goes on. All right, I would have loved to see McGann in his own series. And it's like, yeah, I would too. I think he got cheated. As much as, I like John Hurt as the War Doctor, I even love the Big Finish audios he did later. It's just, they cheated Paul McGann. Paul McGann should have been in the 50th anniversary special, but Moffat couldn't see him as a villain. Well, that's your problem, you jackass. It's like, Big Finish, by the time they got through Lucy Miller and the 8th Doctor Adventures, had it set up perfectly for why the Doctor would have went on a rampage and gone after the Daleks. And, oh no, we can't do that. We'll give him 7 minutes to get this regeneration in. Then blow him off. Oh, God, the Reddit leaks again. Here's one thing I got to say about the Chibnall era. It's been 10 times tougher to get useful information out of the Chibnall era that we can confirm is true than it was during RTD and Moffat. He's really, secret about certain things, and he's really managed to keep them. Oh, you're right, the War Doctor did have a beard, but he don't count, remember? Because he doesn't like to be called the Doctor, therefore he doesn't screw up the lineup, you see. Meanwhile, we could have put Paul McGann in there and not completely screwed up the lineup, but... Or just think, like I've been telling people, I think, like I said, this is just a theory, this is just speculation. But like I said, if they go back to a man for the next Doctor, I firmly believe they will not be a white Caucasian male. I believe they'll either be, I don't like to use the term. I say they'll be black, or there'll be some other ethnic background to them. I don't think they'll be, your white Anglo-Saxon Protestant dude or whatever. I think that, okay, I like the Whittaker era more than the Smith era. How dare you say such blasphemy, blind chick? You do know they'll be heading, because the Timeless Children has destroyed, Whittaker's destroyed the established canon by taking the job. I like that she was never a fan before. Yeah, neither was Matt Smith. Ugh. Oh, that's right. Yeah, when he got aged. Yeah, you're right. You know what was weird? They aged, Tennant how many years, and he didn't grow a beard. Sorry about this. My allergies are starting to kick on. Been doing some dusting and moving. Me and the treadmill have been on talking terms again, and nah, it's not, like I said, I don't call anybody's choice stupid, but like I said, Jenna Coleman's a brilliant actress, but like I said, some of the things she's done to fans has been inexcusable. The only reason she had anything to do with the fans on set is because of Peter Capaldi, and that's what everybody told me. That's what I keep telling people. It's like established canon. Does that mean we got to go all the way back to the Hartnell era? And when there were no Time Lords, there was no planet named Gallifrey. That didn't happen to a while. Like I can go through the whole list of things we've learned about the background of the Doctor that changed. Matter of fact, that means the seal of Rassilon will have to go back to the planet Volga where it started, or Voga, because that's where it started. The symbol they used for the Time Lords was originally the symbol for the Vogans. And then they reused it, and it became the Seal of Rassilon. Okay. It depends on, like I said, I'm beginning to wonder if that decision was even Chris Chibnall's. You see, a lot of people blame the showrunner for things. They say, he refused to do a Christmas special, he's a Grinch. And it could have been a corporate decision, they just dumped it on him. Like I said, I really used to hammer on Moffat, and like I said, I was an evil leech, mean guy. But then when I found out exactly what, they put Moffat through, the guys from Floor 6, I had to lean off him. Okay, when she tried to destroy, yeah. Yeah, I didn't like that either, because the Doctor, as far as I know, if she had pulled some crap like that, she'd have been left standing there by that volcano. Okay, Jodie's been nothing but lovely. It's really sad how much hate certain people. Like I said, I can attest to that. Yeah, she really went out of her way for the fans. Like I said, if she hadn't have gone out and signed autographs for free outside of BBC Two, Radio 2, I wouldn't have that autograph picture up there because my friend Beef went out there. And he managed to get one for him, one for his son, and one for me. And I think he got one for my friend Elijah, too. I can't remember. And he sent that to me. That's an autograph picture right there above my finger of Jodie Whittaker, back when she was signing her full name and everything. Her first appearance. And she always, on set, she always came out and talked to fans and all, at least before the COVID thing hit, because now they got to keep them sequestered. So, Cybermen playing second fiddle to the master so many times. Okay, I can understand that. Yeah, the Cybermen have been nice and evil on their own in days past. If you haven't had a chance, listen to Sword of Orion. That's a great big finish one for the Cybermen. Or Spare Parts. I loved that one. Yeah, I was very, very lucky to get that one blind check. I was, like I said, a friend of mine, he went to when she appeared at BBC Radio 2. And this was before she had even filmed like her first scene. It was just after she was announced. And I actually got the photo of when she signed it here on the computer. Well, not the Vogons from, Hitchhike. I'm talking about the planet Volga, the planet of gold from Revenge of the Cybermen, Tom Baker era. Yeah, that was originally the symbol for the planet Voga. It was in their council chambers and all that. And then the problem is with Omega. Omega is owned by, if I remember right, I want to say Bob Baker and Dave Martin, as is K9 and like I said, and some others. But I don't know if they've even talked to them about anything. It just seems like, all right, Terrence and Mike there, we did. They if anything, the Timeless Children not only canonized, the Brandon Morbius doctors, but it also put the mystery back in the show, because everybody, and that ticks people off, because I know everything about the Doctor, and thanks to this Chibnall upstart, I no longer know Jack. Okay, how are we going here? Okay, we got about 60 people in here again. I'm glad to see that number. All right, Andrew, what's my thoughts about the upcoming series structure for 2021-2022? Okay, you got to remember, you're dealing with COVID regulations. That means not only do you have to keep the entire cast sequestered for the period you're filming, but then they also have to have random COVID tests done on the entire cast and crew, and that could be up to 2 or 3 times a day, if I remember right. Then you also have, other procedures that are about to be followed and things like that. So, okay, what Star Trek race would I choose to be from Michelle there? I don't know. I've cosplayed Ferengi. I did Klingon for the longest time. I, briefly did Cardassian. Romulan I never got around to. I mainly focused on Klingon, so I'd have to stick with Klingon, I guess. Yeah, exactly. Otaku there. I agree with you. Anyone who says the canon's been destroyed, this canon has been changing for 57 years. Coming up on 58 soon. And it's like, You can't sit there and say, well, because it did this, I don't like it. Okay, someone asked about Blind Chick asked about the audio plays. And it's like, right now, I am literally working on the final scene for Chapter 4 of Murder on the Chatanyu. I've been meaning to get that out for like 3 months, if not longer. But like I said, there was things going on with the job, COVID. Plus like I said, I had to run the wife, her health issues. Like I said, nothing major, majorly bad going on there. It's just a bunch of other stuff. So it's like I've just been kind of leapfrogging around a bit. And plus I got tied into a couple of different games that really, like, I got lazy. All right, so... Okay, yeah, we're talking about doing another Omega Files, but like I said, like I said, I'd like to see some of the old panel back too, but there were some things going on I don't want to discuss. It's kind of sad when you have somebody who attacked you, took personal photos of you, off your Facebook page, did things to them I won't go into, and then everybody sits there and hangs out with them like they did nothing wrong. And that was one of the reasons why I cut ties with a lot of people. I said, okay, you're going to sit there and talk to the guy who was accusing your friends of being pedophiles not even a year ago. And it's like, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that anymore. You go live with them. I'm not having anything to do with you at this point. Sorry, it's too much tomfoolery. Okay. Oh, the Vardens. Okay, you meant the Vardens. Okay, yeah, the Vardens, like I said, they reappeared in Big Finish audio. I can't remember if it was more than once. Try getting any non-geek to recognize any name. Like I said, somebody once saw... Hang on, let's see if I can even get it to you see it on the screen. Okay, as you can see, I got this photo on my phone, and that's, of course, Sophie Aldred. Well, it disappeared now, and so it's like, wow, who's she? And I go, Sophie Aldred. Huh? It's like, I felt like I just handed a Rubik's Cube to a Gibbons. Okay, it's like, wait, who? Like, because that look that came over this guy's face. I'm like, British actress, and that picture was taken like close to 30 years ago. Yeah, I'm really hoping that Jodie signs up for Big Finish. Thank you, Dee. I really hope she is too. Like I said, I think she'd be beautiful on Big Finish. How many here have listened to the audiobook version of At Childhood's End, which was a book written by Sophie Aldred? I highly recommend it. It's a great story. Plus, Sophie does a killer Jodie impression. I'm not kidding. She nails the accent down perfectly. And plus, there's a little bit of awkwardness there because apparently the Seventh Doctor and Ace didn't part on good terms. Which you've been listening to Big Finish, it was leaning that way for a while. I think that might be partially the reason, Otaku, why they did a thing where when they come back this year, it's going to be obvious that there was a time that the Doctor and Yaz have been traveling together before we see them again, because that way you leave a gap open to do adventures in between. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, whenever you mention Tennant or Tom Baker, Michelle, yeah, I understand that. It's like, yep, At Childhood's End. I love that book. And like I said, the audio book version is narrated by Sophie Aldred herself. And like I said, she really nails Jodie's accent. She does a really good Jodie Whittaker impression. Oh yeah, Seventh Doctor got real dark. I keep reminding people that when you see that ending of, Family of Blood and all that, Human Nature, Family of Blood, that was based off the novel Human Nature. That was originally written for the Seventh Doctor as the lead character. And one thing you never did was cross the little man with the hat and the umbrella, because he would make you regret it severely. If there should be a theme song for the Seventh Doctor, it should be When the Man Comes Around by Johnny Cash, okay? Yeah, I love her voice. I love her accent. Yeah, blind chick. I love, the way her doctor carries himself. We were going for, a lot of people like, how come the doctor changed so suddenly? I said, for one, it wasn't the fact the doctor changed from male to female. The doctor always changes quite a bit normally between bodies. And right now you were dealing with a doctor who was literally to the point that he was considering ending his life because he wanted to rest. And then all of a sudden now he's seeing, she now is seeing the universe from a whole new point of view. But yeah, if you ever get a chance, pick up the audiobook version of it. Like I said, it's narrated by Sophie Aldred, and I just love the way she does narration. Foundation. I don't know. I have to go look it up. What's Foundation about? That's one I must have missed because, I got NCIS coming back. Like I said, I've watched crazy things like Riverdale because I like how far off the path these guys are getting. Let's see. Yeah, and I love how these guys complain about Series 11, Series 12. I'm like, dude, it's like Series 12 was like kick ass. You can't deny that. Yeah, they tried to mellow Capaldi back out because they were afraid they were going to have another instance where people were going to hate the Doctor. And like I said, it's like, it was nice to see the Doctor get a bit grumpy from time to time. Getting impatient. Yeah, they really, at that point in time, Walter, yeah, Doctor Who was on, there were a lot of people wanted Doctor Who gone. The budget was slashed. They literally had to do what they did with the time they had. And it's just, heck, even when they were in the Fifth Doctor, they barely had time to rehearse. We got that from Mark Strickson, who played Turlough. And so by the time they got to the Seventh Doctor, oh, goodness. Oh, God, no. Don't remind me of Revelation in any way, shape, or form. I like I said, I was sitting there so full of hope. Oh, okay, Asimov Foundation and Prelude, all that, yeah, the iRobot, things like that. All right, I remember that Isaac Asimov. Okay, I didn't know they were doing a thing at Foundation. I know they're doing a mini-series of the Midwich Cuckoos, which is what they based Village of the Damned off of over there in Britain, and I guess Keeley Hawes is going to be in on that. But yeah, Masters of the Universe Revelation, I was sitting there so full of hope because of, Kevin Smith, he's a fan and all that. But I was also a little wary because I saw the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, and he tried to politically correct the humor so badly. And all the stuff him and Jay's character would normally do, now his daughter and this other gal are doing. And I'm like, he's been trying to pimp his daughter out to Hollywood for so many years now, it's not even funny. And it's like, ugh. For one, it's like you're probably looking at rights issues. You'd have to change her name because her name's Harley Quinn Smith. Okay, the BBC is so there as the Doctor was a... Yeah, because contrary to what, the Nerdfurter and, the Charbroils and the Mega Dum-Dums are telling you, Doctor Who's still generating money. Also, even after they took a year off in Series 10, they had 5.5 million viewers. They took a serious year off before Series 12 and still got 5.5 million viewers, which means you've got a dedicated audience right there, despite the fact that we hate the show and we're in the majority. My mama says so. Oh, God, yeah. Like I said, Sarah Michelle Gellar, it seemed like the cast to me that he picked out were a bunch of people out of his 80s Rolodex he either wanted to work with or, let's just say, wanted to work with. Because, come on, Sarah Michelle Gellar as Tila, it did not work. So right there, I was sitting there going, God, this sounds horrible. And then you had, as Queen Marlena, Adam's mother, Lindsay freaking Lohan. No, not Lindsay, it was Alicia Silverstone. Alicia Silverstone, who nobody knows what the hell happened to her after Batman Forever or whatever. Batman and Robin, that's the one she was in. She just kind of disappeared after that. No more really big jobs for her, yeah. It was, yeah, Grant, it was horrible. Then then they killed Orko off. Oh, sorry, spoiler alert. They kill off a He-Man in the first episode. I'm like, then Castle Grayskull's technically gone. The whole cover of Castle Grayskull was to hide some Interstellar Hall of Records crap. And I'm sitting there going, wow, they got rid of Castle Grayskull too. What the hell's next? It's like, are they going to blow up Eternia just to round off the equation? It's like, oh man. But, Kevin Smith was sitting there lying to you, saying this was going to be a continuation. And it's like, dude, I grew up watching this show back when I was a kid. The original He-Man cartoons. I didn't watch the new Ventures of He-Man. And now they got yet another new one. And by the way, Orko's a freaking robot now in that one. But like I said, I know things have got to change with the times, but oh, goodness gracious. Like, the one thing I want to see him remake, and I really love if you're going to do one thing where you're going to take a cartoon and make it live action, I want to see Thundar the Barbarian. I'm not kidding. But it's like, yeah, you'll rip off everything from Scooby-Doo to what you call it back then. Now I think they're even talking about doing Space Ghost for a while. It's like, yeah, you're going to rip off everything of it back then. But come on, Thundar the freaking Barbarian. Get him on the screen. Just imagine, that thing practically writes itself. Yeah, Mark Hamill, did not work as Skeletor. He sounded too much like the Joker. And I love Mark Hamill and everything he does, but yeah, that didn't work either. Suit me, Uncle. I love that one, Walter. Nice line. Yeah. Yeah, trust me, Belinda. Don't watch anything. Don't watch Masters of the Universe Revelation. It'll break your heart because you had Kevin Smith sitting there going on about how great this was and about how it was going to be a continuation. And it turns out it was never going to be a continuation. There was still apparently some crap going on. They once again, it was another one of them things where they had to make it so much different from the original, or there was going to be some malarkey, legal malarkey. All right, Galaxy Rangers. I remember them briefly, and the scary part is now the theme song is going to be stuck in my head the rest of the day. Yeah, I remember Galaxy Rangers. Heck, I remember Bionic 6. I remember all that stuff. Defenders of the Earth. There was a weird one. They were like the Avengers before the event. Well, in animated form, is what I'm saying. Yeah, I haven't bothered to watch the Charmed reboot. I didn't want to try because I'm like, no, it's too soon for one. It's like two, okay, now we're going to do this, and this, and all that. I'm like, no, I'm sorry, but the whole reason Charmed ever got made was because of the movie Practical Magic, if memory serves. Because they wanted to do something to the movie Practical Magic, which had Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock, and amongst others. And that's the whole basis of Charmed was based off that. And now you've tried to turn it into something that's even way more different than the series. It's like, oh yeah, Galaxy Rangers was a good one. There was a Brave Star. There was, oh goodness gracious, there were so many great cartoons back then to choose from. There was Brave Star, Black Star. Star seemed to be a theme. Get it? Just like I tried watching Batwoman. I didn't make it to the first season. I made it maybe just over halfway, and I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to try to watch that new Fantasy Island, but it's like, my problem with Fantasy Island is the fact that they've tried it before. They tried bringing like Malcolm McDowell, and they completely screwed that up. It's just, Ricardo Montalban was a very hard act to follow. The Craft, that was more like teenage angst, what do you call it, witches. Biker Mice from Mars, and of course Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles way back in the day. And oh heck, there are so many cartoons I used to watch back when I was a kid. I can't remember half of them. Oh heck, people freaked out when I said, "Anybody remember Sport Billy?" Oh well. Johnny Sacco and his flying robot. Yeah, we had Tranzor Z. We had the original Voltron. That new Voltron isn't too bad. If you haven't watched the one on Netflix, I actually did enjoy that. Battle of the Planets. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, based off Gatchaman. Yeah, I loved Battle of the Planets. Matter of fact, to this day, I wish I could rig up my garage so that every morning before I go to work, it starts blaring the music that the Phoenix would, when the Phoenix came up out of the water, they'd blare that music when it's taken off. That would be nice. Okay. Yeah, Danger Mouse. Like I said, they tried redoing that one too, and like I said, I just couldn't get into it. Farscape, like I said, that was another case where they got boned. It was supposed to be a 5-year story like Babylon 5, and then just as they finish up year 4, they call everybody together on set and say, well, we're canceled. That's why you had the Peacekeeper Wars movie, which tried to wrap up what would have happened in season 5, all into that one mini-series or whatever, and I loved Farscape. It was just such a change. It was completely different in so many ways, and yeah, I did like the new Voltron. Yeah, thank you. It was Speed Racer. Yeah, it's like, I love that because every time you watched it, you always had to hear the following. Then there's Racer X, who is secretly Speed's brother, who left when. It's like, I can see that now. When they did, if they ever had finally done the reveal, well, Speed, there's something I got to tell you. Yeah, you're my lost brother. The narrator's been touting it for the last how many years? I never got a chance to watch the DuckTales reboot with David Tennant. Like I said, it's just, I don't know if I'm going to bother with NCIS Hawaii. Oh, like I said, it's just, they've done so many things. The basic NCIS, they got rid of New Orleans after only 7 years, yet that piece of crap Los Angeles is still on, which I can't figure out. 4400 shot itself in the foot, if I remember right. It's like, they gave up basically the whole premise of the show, and like, well, we were sent back from the future. These guys came from the future. They weren't aliens. Well, you just kind of like shot the mystery right out of your show right there. You know, like, oh yeah, I loved Farscape. Yeah, my name is John Crichton, an astronaut. I loved Ben Browder in that series. I loved it when he got to do a little cameo appearance of leaving Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It was nice. Plus, he had that minor appearance in A Town Called BS. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Bree. Doctor Who, as far as people define woke these days, has always been woke. It's always been politically, had political themes to it. And I can hardly think of an episode going back how many decades that didn't have some underlying meaning, which is what made it, all right, they tried to do the 4400 reboot with Manifest, and that was even worse. My wife watched Manifest. I never got around to it. 4400, yeah, now just like they rebooted Roswell. I'm like, yeah, CSI Gallifrey. Yeah, we saw how well that worked out in The Deadly Assassin. Incredibly advanced race. Oh, man, they couldn't find nothing other than a shrunken body and a camera. Oh, man. Yeah, don't get me started on CSI shows. I laugh when I watch those. My wife gets pissed. It's like, yeah, for one, your CSI would not be doing your interrogation. Your coroner would not be showing up on scene in her street clothes and wearing sunglasses during a body examination. Lots of little things like that get me. I had a friend of mine who was a coroner, or he did that stuff, and it's like when he used to die laughing. He goes, I can recall maybe 5 times in the last 20-something years I've been a coroner that I had a crime scene that was neat enough for me to just walk in and plop my toolbox down on. It's like, I loved Rigel. I thought that was very well done. The fact they used the Jim Henson Creature Shop for Farscape. Yeah, it seems to me like we're trapped in an era now where we, for us folks who grew up in the 60s, 70s, and 80s and all that, we got the best sci-fi. Everything else seems like it's been based off something else. Don't get me wrong, there's exceptions in there, but it seems like we're going to reboot this, we're going to reboot that, or we're going to call it something else, but it's actually going to be a copy off of this. And it just, blows my mind. Like I said, one of the things that drove me nuts was the fact that, in Doctor Who, okay, hey Otaku, have you watched that Doctor Who anime that guy did? That was really kick-ass. I love that video. Look it up, Doctor Who anime on YouTube if you haven't seen it. He mixes in actual voices from the show and all that. And like I said, it's really good. Yeah, the Weeping Angels sadly got watered down. The problem is 1 minute they kill you kindly by doing this. Then they're snapping your necks and taking your consciousness. Oh, by the way, if you look straight into the face or look at Angel in the eyes, you're going to get an angel in your head, which didn't happen in Blink when you had, Nightingale's brother staring right into that one angel's face, and I didn't see sand start pouring out of his eyes or anything like that. The only thing I liked about the Galactica reboot, as Bree brought it up, is some of the stories were good. Some of the characters were pretty awesome, but the one thing that turned me off immediately was that humans created the Cylons. And it's like, wow, you just stole everything right off of Asimov right there. Robots at Dawn, iRobot, that's all you did. And Ronald D. Moore, he has a habit of doing that, where he just takes someone else's ideas, sticks it onto someone else's show that he claims he's rebooting, and boom. That's what you get. Sapphire and Steel, I loved it. It was kind of like a cross between the Twilight Zone and Doctor Who in a way. Yeah. Were intrinsic to the storylines and not put in just for the sake of it. Okay, we're going to beg to differ on that one. Because really, other than the fact you met Sarah Jane, you knew she was in the press, and her Aunt Lavinia was a scientist, really, how much background did you get on her from that point on? Oh, she lived in Aberdeen. If anything, Ace was pretty much the basis for the modern-day companion. You found out a lot about her childhood. You found out about where she grew up, how she grew up, and things like that. And that's, you can tell they were trying to evolve the show at that point. Doctor Who, like I said, you're right. There are some instances where they go off the path a bit, but I did like the animated Cylons. I did. I loved the Cylons they had there. I thought they were incredible. But come on, the Cylons disappeared for how long so they could evolve into supermodels and old dudes? What? It's like, yeah, I did like the Silver Cylons. Yeah, the Centurions. I loved them. I liked the way they did them. But like I said, it just, they tried changing stuff around. Like the Galactic, you got to remember, the Galactica in the original series was 500 years old. And then in the new series, it's 50 years old, but we're retiring it. And I'm like, why? It's like, Soviets are still using diesel submarines from like later part, just after World War II. If it works, you don't throw it away. But I love the Orville. Like I said, I put out a meme for a while there. Let me get a drink here. The Orville, when your knockoff of Star Trek is more Star Trek than the current Star Trek is. And like I said, I won't go into Trek and all that because I don't make my living, complaining. Far as I'm concerned, Star Trek's pretty much lost its way, and it's... But the Orville, I love. And Seth MacFarlane, by the way, a lot of you might not know this. He pitched the Orville to Paramount as a Star Trek show. And they laughed in his face. And yet, guess what they do? They do the Lower Decks now, animated, and Star Trek is now a full-on comedy. Ugh. Okay, folks, I've been rambling for over an hour, and I had no intention of staying on that long. So I'm going to get on out of here. I want to thank each and every one of you who popped in. We had a great time. Please keep circulating the tapes. As they say, I'm MS3T3K. It's just I'm running low on fluid, and my throat's starting to dry out a bit. Yeah, Seth MacFarlane. Yeah, pitched the Orville to Paramount, and they laughed him out of the office. And so he took it somewhere else. He changed it a bit. Boom, hit. No, MacFarlane, yeah. The problem is you're never going to get the rights to Star Trek, Devalier. The Paramount's hanging on to those. And I really thought that there was going to be something promising because after all the remergers and all that, all the rights for old Trek and new Trek and all that are now back under one roof. But it never happened. Okay, everyone, please take care of yourselves. Watch out there. The Delta variant is coming. And I'm not talking about the Delta House from, Animal House. But please, wash your hands. Keep some sanitizer around. Be good to each other. Be kind. And like I said, have a good one.